I'm Aaron.
I'm Tom.
And we are talking about Thieves Market by TMG.
So I was really pleasantly surprised with this game. After playing it, I never really thought that it would have been as strategic as it actually is. The idea that, you're stealing dice from each other, I thought it'd be super wacky, just kind of ha-ha, ooh, just craziness. But there was a lot of strategic thinking to why am I going to steal and what am I going to take from the middle? Because I want these cards, but then again, he's probably going to be going for that card, so I'm not going to take this because if I take that, then he's going to want to take it from me, type of thing. And of course, it's very obvious that if you get too greedy, you're just going to lose it.
Yeah. So something like one thing I noticed is you can steal the stuff other people are going to want and leave the stuff you want in the middle so that they steal from you, and then you have your stuff is still out there just waiting for you. And you're like, okay, I'll just take this. That's all I wanted anyways.
Yeah, and
plus,
you get that +1,
Yeah. There's all kinds of different strategies. I mean, you can just go strictly for trying to get like the most of the henchmen to get like the bonus points at the end, or having the most coins at the end. But then there's just cards that get more victory points for the more of that set that you have, which is kind of cool too. So there's multiple different ways to get the victory points besides just stealing from each other and getting the cards that you want. I like the unique drafting aspect where there's the three stages of drafting where you have the A pile, the B pile, and the C pile. Mm-hmm. And after the first pile, once you can't refill it, then you go to the next thing of drafting, but you can still draft cards from the original set if they're still out there. So it makes it where there's no weird distribution of cards where somebody gets the most powerful card in the turn one, because that powerful card is always going to be in the later rounds. Mm-hmm.
But there still could be some cards that are still pretty good.
Yes.
That are from
for sure.
A that are still out there. I've had it where I had a pyramid of cards. We have 2 cards from A, 3 cards from B, and then there's all these C's out there. So then you have tons of different options. And a lot of players will kind of look at the A and B cards once the C ones are out, and they'll kind of ignore them because they're like, ooh, the cards are getting better and better, so I'm going to focus on buying these. So then I can go, well, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this one. How come nobody's bought it yet? It's pretty powerful right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take it.
The gold is interesting too.
Oh, because you don't get it right away.
Yeah.
It's not a wild, it's a wild next turn.
It's a wild for the next turn, correct. Or you could just save it up for end game, get the couple extra bonus points. But yes, taking that gold as a wild is very powerful. You can get something that generates more gold for you.
Oh yeah. That card, the one card that every time you go to take gold, you take one more.
Yeah, it's really powerful because you can use that gold to buy anything you want instead of having the gems for it. You just have the gold for it.
The cards that let you do multiple buys are kind of a trick if you get them early on. If it's one of the first cards you buy, when I see people do that, they're like, ooh, I'm going to get to buy 2 cards every turn. I'm like, no, you won't. And that is one thing I will say about this game. If you've played it more, you do have a little bit of an advantage. You know more the card. You know what cards are in C. You know the combination. Because I know that the one where if they steal from you and you get infamy tokens, that can be really powerful. But then there's that other card that is worth 1 victory point for every 2 infamy tokens you have, so that combo is really good. Mm-hmm. And then there's exit strategy where you can just dump all your gold to get 2 infamy tokens per gold right at the end of the game. So you can say, well, I'll get 3 points if I have the most gold, or I can get 7 points. It would be an even number. I could get 8 points if I just dumped all my gold right now. I'm going to do that. That's way better. That is one thing about it that could annoy some people, that you're playing a game that does have high player interaction, and yet you could have a little bit more of an advantage over some people.
The symbology on here can be a little overwhelming the first couple times you play it. They have the reference cards, which make sense when you look at them if you know what they mean, but at first you're looking at it, you're like, so if I can take this, it equals this. It just takes a little while. But once you know a couple cards, it starts to really make sense.
The only other negative that I have, and really it's 2. I felt, first of all, that this game really rode the line between being a small game and being a more medium-sized game. And when I say size, I don't mean just the complexity or the length of time playing it. I mean the size of the box. I understand that TMG does all these micro games in these small boxes. They have a whole line of them, and that's great. But because I sleeve all my cards, these are no longer the micro game boxes. These are the boxes whose lids don't close. That is their theme on my shelf. And I'm looking at it, and even I like the game enough to where if it was a bigger box, there were a couple more cards, right, per stack, and I could even play an extra round or 2. I enjoy it, make the tokens a little bit bigger. It could have been a medium-sized box, everything would have fit in there, it would have been a little bit longer, and it would have been, I don't know, it would have been more fitting to me. I really feel like this was right on the line, and they took like a vote or something, and it was like, 5-4, and they went with the small box. The other maybe negative that I have with this is that it definitely is the more the merrier. I played it with 3 players, and I didn't really love it. 4 players was pretty fun, but I think 5 players really is where it shines. And I would say that, I say it's kind of a negative, meaning that some people might see it as more of a negative than others. For me, I'm okay with having games on my shelf where I say this is a 4-player game, this is a 5-player game. Every game either has that optimal number or that optimal, small range of numbers of players to where it's the best. And this one really is 5. If you're looking for a game, if you have a game group of 3, and you're looking for a game for just the 3 of you. 4, yes. Yes, 4 is solid, 5 is great. We should get 2 copies of them, smash them together, play 10 players. I'm taking your thing!
That's my idea! We need to, it's a good idea though. Take 2 copies, smash them together, 10 players.
Boom, right there.
Oh, there'd be so much stealing. She's like, oh, I'm taking dice from you and you and you.
But then there's also be multiple copies of the same card out there because you'd mix 2 decks together.
Yeah, you could pull off some crazy combos.
That'd
What if
be
you
dope.
had both of those things that every time you get stolen from, you get 2
You get
in
2
from
every. Oh man,
Or
that'd be awesome actually.
Or you
Well,
got
we have 2
starting-
copies. What are we talking about? We have 2 copies.
let's try this right now.
Let's
Maybe
do
I'll
it.
try it. Overall, a great game that you can play in just under an hour.
Mhm.
A lot of fun, a lot of high player interaction, stealing dice, and trying to build your table of cards that work well together.
Yeah, especially for the price point of this game, you kind of can't go wrong. If you have 4 or 5 players and your group is really okay with that, kind of getting at each other's throats. And this game is kind of like, I'd say it's 90% player interaction. I mean, you're worrying about your own thing and you're building up your tableau of cards, but you're mostly playing the players, not the game. And if that sounds like your type of game and your type of game group, then definitely go click the link down below, buy it, and while you're there, you can subscribe and you'll never be bored. This is what keeps me alive.
Yeah.
I live for this stuff. Mountain Dew, give me free stuff. I'll sponsor you.
They'll sponsor you.
I don't know how that works.